Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining us for this webinar. Again, we have a big turnout, and we're always thankful for the participation we've been receiving. Today, we're going to talk about the benefits and new features found in MXU 4.1. This version is available now on the Olympus website, and it is designed to support both the computer-based OmniPC for data analysis of OmniScan inspections, the OmniScan MX2, which is a multi-group, multi-probe instrument and is probably what most of the webinar participants are using today, and just released recently our new latest addition to the OmniScan family of products, the SX. The SX is a slightly smaller, lighter, single probe, single group instrument that just made phased array accessible to a whole nother level of applications and inspectors that would normally be using conventional UT. So the software version that we're going to be looking at today is the same in all three environments. So a quick highlights about the webinar and presentation and the new features, and everybody will receive this presentation in an email blast that will follow shortly after the webinar, so you need not screen capture or take notes. That'll be available. But the highlights of the software that we'll be looking at today are the enhanced menus, eliminating the need for touch screen modes. And that's not eliminating the touch screen, just the modes that regulate the touch screen, making the training and usability much easier. There's new wizard functionality for techniques. There are contextual menus for fast parameter change and cursor manipulation. Most of the features you'll see today are specifically designed to enhance full screen mode, allowing you to use more of the display, see data larger and more clearly, and not have to navigate through the menus and submenus to change common function parameters. There's a new TOF calibrator and a sleep mode that will make for fast boot up. So we're going to take a look at these through the PowerPoint, and we'll be transitioning both to OmniPC and to a live instrument that we'll see. Any of you, so in the versions of software you're using today, if you've not upgraded to 4.1, the overwhelming amount of customer feedback that was negative resulted from the inability to select, position, and visualize cursors quickly and easily. This was particularly true if the cursor was out of view of the data view. And by data view, I mean A scan, S scan, C scan. Not enough functionality in full screen mode, meaning that when the menus are visible, it uses up a lot of the real estate of the display. And it was complexity of the function key and touchscreen mode interaction. It made it difficult to zoom or to change a gate or to enable and move cursors because it required a little bit of a memory for manipulation of the function keys and the interaction on the screen using the scroll knob for cursors, zoom, and gates. So all of these points have been addressed in the new software version. And in the end, what the goal was to create less training so we can concentrate on the application and not the ABCs of moving around in the software. Some of the things previously that may have puzzled some of the users when they're using the instrument or the instrument and the mouse or OmniPC is that the same software has to work in all of the environments. And that makes it easier for us to manage and easier for us to document and easier for the user to use. So all three of those environments, touchscreen only user, like field work that a typical inspector would do, instrument and mouse user, which is typical of the training academies and people that work in labs or inside and don't move the OmniScan around a lot, and people who just don't like using the touch screen for whatever reason. And the OmniPC user, where a keyboard and mouse is available all of the time. So your first exposure to the new software version, the first thing you're probably going to notice is the elimination of the touch screen modes. Previously, when in one mode, such as zoom, gate, or cursor, other features or objects were disabled in the software. And between the three environments where people use the OmniScan software that I explained, it required a little bit more training and practice, and ended up too much time of our training week was devoted to that. So there needed to be an easier solution. So the elimination of the touchscreen modes is particularly beneficial to OmniPC users, where a mouse and keyboard are always available. The more functionality, less training, and an easy transition between the instrument and the OmniPC as the touchscreen is no longer needed or available on the computer. So now all objects are active at all times, eliminating the need. So I can initiate a zoom from anywhere. I can bring cursors into view or move them in OmniPC under any condition. And on the instrument, it's limited to a focus and move with the mouse or rotary knob. And we'll see demos of that that'll make a lot more sense. So you'll also notice starting our setup with the setup wizard. The wizard will walk us through one of two paths. One for the UT applications, such as top or configuration of a conventional probe, and another path for phased array. And within these two paths, we have defaults available for angle beam, and this would include typical shear wave weld inspection, top inspection, which is limited to the LEMO connectors on the module, and a 0-degree inspection, which is a phased array corrosion mapping or composite aerospace type inspection. So based on the technique selection, the software defaults parameters for focal laws, UT, gate modes, readings, report formats, and other UT and phased array inspections, resulting in a faster inspection with fewer parameters upon completion. And the big two to really keep in mind are the difference between, for the phased array users, angle beam and 0-degree. So how it affects the C-scan, the readings, the displays, all of those defaults are preset. Most of them can be changed. Some of them are locked. For those people who prefer a completely raw custom environment, select the custom feature and it will work exactly as is today. All options are enabled and can be changed by the user as desired. So now in the normal menu, and we'll see here in the normal menu, I mean when the menus and submenus are available, when we're not in full screen, we open and save data files or setup files directly from the touch screen. Either a right click of the mouse or a touch and hold on the touch screen enables an open and save option directly from the touch screen. And this would be in addition to the file save menu and submenu. Those are still available. There's just a shortcut to get to it from the touch screen. In each data view, and a data view is an A scan, B scan, C scan, or side view, S scan. They now have an interactive menu that is enabled and slightly different depending on if you're in inspection or analysis mode. But on any view at any time, and we're looking at the full screen option here. on the instrument or an OmniPC. At any time, a press and hold on the touchscreen or a right click of the mouse will enable these menus where I can place a cursor position or in some cases manipulate data without navigating out of full screen mode. So on the S-scan, when we're looking at it both live and in analysis mode, we have the ability to manipulate the index offset, the skew direction of the beam, and bring cursors directly into view at the position of the touch screen. So this is either a touch and hold or a right mouse click on each of the data views. On the C-scan, in addition to the cursors, we also have the ability to manipulate the C-scan source and the thickness source for how the C-scan data is displayed. Each contextual menu is adapted to the current view and availability. So on an A-scan, we would see a slightly different list than the S-scan or the C-scan. Those are available at any time in full screen mode or in regular mode. In the A-scan interactive menu, we will disable and clear the envelope signal and have the ability for measure and reference cursor only. Data cursor is not available in the A-scan mode. For our TOFT additions for 4.1, and here we have pictured the new OmniScan SX single group, single probe inspection designed for phased array and TOFT. Enhancements include more full screen functionality. The SX's screen is about 30% smaller than an MX2. So the ability to manipulate and calibrate and adjust UT parameters in full screen mode is even more important. So we will demonstrate after the PowerPoint presentation the ability to calibrate under several different conditions, lateral wave synchronization, and for any calibrated file at any time in full screen mode, we have the ability for a two-step click calibration update and ability to both set and resynchronize the lateral wave on the B-scan as well. Faster, easier, and you don't have to enter the wizard more than one time to complete those functions. In addition to elimination of the touch screen modes, probably the next biggest change you're going to notice in the software is the feature that allowed us to eliminate the touch screen modes, which is what we call the interactive title bar. In normal mode and full screen mode, at any time, the layouts, groups, scan data cursor, index data cursor, if applicable, and angle, in addition to options, are available and can be manipulated directly from the title bar. This is true in OmniPC and in the instrument. So this automatically eliminated a lot of the ABCs of function key manipulation. In selecting any of these options on the touch screen or with the mouse enables the rotary knob or mouse wheel to adjust the parameter. In OmniPC, it's live at all times and cursors can be dragged to the new position, where on the instrument it's limited to the mouse and the rotary knob. So our layouts are directly available from the touch screen, and we'll see some new layouts that were previously eliminated in 4.0. Some of those layouts that at 4.0 were eliminated, such as the single S group, single A group, and some of the multi-groups, they're back, and we'll see those shortly. For the MX2 multi-group inspection, we also have a way to change the group right from the title bar immediately. If a TOFT group is selected, the AB display associated with top is automatically changed. For the scan and index and angle, as soon as I either select a data cursor here, for instance, or in this case, the one that's displayed is the scan data cursor here, that parameter is visible in the upper left-hand corner. So I can either move it with the mouse and OmniPC, or move it with the mouse cursor or rotary knob on the instrument directly. And it allows me to switch between the three very quickly and easily. Again, just tapping this or this will bring the parameter into view active for immediate manipulation. This solved a big problem for us, for the users who didn't invest in much of a training for the ABCs of function key rotary knob. It got a lot simpler. Same for the angle here. The options that are available are for the grid of the A-scan, the weld overlay, and if you notice, the weld overlay has now changed. It went from a fairly bold, orange, heavy-weighted display, which in some cases obscured data, to the same black and white line as the B0 and T0 display lines. So it's a much more efficient, easier for analysis, and the result of customer feedback. So the increments that affect how we use the mouse wheel and the rotary knob on the instrument have changed in some functionality as well. While eliminating the touchscreen modes makes us a little more dependent on the mouse wheel or the rotary knob on the instrument, so the speed or increment at which it advances is directly available from the box of any parameter where a number is required. So touch and hold over this area, or a right mouse click over this area, will enable the increment view where it can be selected very quickly and easily. This used to be the function of the up and down arrow when a field was active. Now it's much faster. On the instrument in live mode or inspection mode, and here we're looking at the AS layout on the OmniScan SX in full screen mode, meaning we're not showing the navigation buttons or menu buttons. Selecting the gain area will enable the gain to be changed directly on the instrument in full screen mode without navigating to the UT menu. So I would tap gain once and manipulate either my mouse wheel or the cursor or the rotary dial knob here to raise and lower the gain. A touch and hold on the inactive gain allows me to toggle between reference enable and disable, or for any signal in gate A, a touch and hold and a selection of set to 80 will automatically adjust the gain to the signal in gate A 80% threshold level. More functionality in full screen mode, less need to navigate outside to the UT menu. And along that same line of thinking, the UT start and range are now available directly from the UT ruler on the A-scan data view. On any A-scan that is not zoomed, a tap and hold on the first half of the UT axis will enable the UT start parameter that can either be adjusted with the rotary knob, mouse wheel, or tapping one time on an active field enables the number keypad, and you can enter the value directly. Doing the same function on the second half of the UT axis ruler of an A-scan enables the UT range to be displayed. So the range is visible on the A and the S scan, and it can be manipulated directly on any non-zoomed A scan. More full screen functionality. Zooms are now active at all times. So the only function on the instrument that will ever require a touch and hold and drag is the zoom. All other cursor manipulation is done by activating and moving the rotary knob, or an OmniPC, all objects can be dragged, enabled, and activated simultaneously. So on any zoom, and again, we have a diagonal zoom and a horizontal and vertical zoom, we can pan the zoom by dragging and dropping this ruler. We can pan it to 80% by touch and hold or right-click in the empty area. And on any axis, a touch and hold zoom out will enable me to unzoom in both axes. And we'll demonstrate that live on the instrument. It made it much easier. It previously had to be unzoomed in each axis. Now that's available quickly and easily from the touch screen or mouse for both axes simultaneously. Elimination of the touchscreen modes also changed some of the gate functionality. The gates are active on the instrument and an OmniPC at all times if they are displayed. So a touch and hold, or I'm sorry, a single tap on the gate start will indicate that the gate start is being modified and will allow that parameter to be changed in the upper left-hand corner, or it can be manipulated directly on the touch screen after this is available. Selecting the center of the gate will enable the threshold. Selecting the end of the gate will enable the width to be manipulated. And again, anytime you're manipulating a gate in analysis mode, you will get a warning that the C-scan will be updated and the data file amended. There is also a new function related with the power function key for sleep mode. Previously, the only way other than pausing the instrument or to save battery would require a complete shutdown and a complete reboot, which was time-consuming, and customers tended not to do it for that reason. Selecting sleep on the instrument puts the instrument into a sleep mode where the display becomes blank. A very small amount of battery is used just to store the last data file, and the instrument can remain in this position for indefinitely. Selection of the power button after sleep is enabled brings the instrument directly out of sleep into the same condition with the same data file, or setup file. So we have a way of saving battery life, eliminating unnecessary heat by having the pulsars running all of the time, and allowing battery to last a lot longer by being able to sleep the instrument instead of requiring a complete reboot. So we're going to transition now from the presentation to my desktop for OmniPC and to demonstrate some of these features live. So we're looking at the OmniPC environment. We have upgraded to 4.1 R2, which is available on the Olympus website now. And right away, you're going to notice a different title bar that we see here, and no touchscreen modes like we had seen previously, even in OmniPC. So any layout is available directly from our list on the title bar, and we can see that some of the layouts that we lost in 4.0 have returned. The single S scan, the ABCS scan layouts have been returned as customers gave us a lot of feedback when they lost those in the previous version. For the MX2 or OmniPC customers with multi-group data, the group is changed directly from the title bar. If an topped group is selected, it will enable either the A or the AB depending on the last condition. Selection of a phased array group will bring the default layout back to the phased array ACS view like you see here. So in OmniPC, I can either select the scan axis here by a touch of the mouse and manipulate it with my mouse wheel as I'm doing here, or I can drag the bar at any time. Same function for the angle. Selection of the angle enables it here. It can then be manipulated directly on the title bar or by manipulating it on the S-scan or C-scan. Options include a grid for the A-scan that's customizable, the weld overlay, the legs for the ID and OD. This would allow me to turn on or off any cursors, and gates. The gates are for display only. So with elimination of the touchscreen modes, right-click or touch and hold on the touchscreen to set reference. Do the same function for set measure, and they can be adjusted directly on the touchscreen. Any cursor that I select, I'll see that cursor's parameter in the upper left-hand corner of the instrument or OmniPC. So my link sizing was done on the C-scan. I can zoom right away without any touchscreen mode. I can place the cursors quickly and easily on the data. And by right-click or touch and hold on the touchscreen, I can add the indication to my indication table immediately. All of this directly in either normal screen or full screen mode. Looking at the A-scan, selection of the front of the gate enables the start position. Selection of the middle, the threshold, we'll always receive a warning prior to changing. I can move this with my mouse wheel or the rotary knob on the instrument. Selection of the end of the gate enables the width. Switch back to our multiple view. Zoom out both axes. For multi-group inspection, this is relative only to OmniPC and the MX2. We can see that the A-scan layout for all of the layouts, but especially it affected our multi-view layouts, has been rescaled. Previously, it was a little too short and long, and customers complained. We have a little bit of a distorted view of the A-scan, so all of these layouts were rescaled. In this case, we're looking at the SKU 90 S-scan, and here is the C-scan associated with that. The SKU 270 S-scan and its C-scan, and then whichever of these I select, I'll see the corresponding A-scan. As I change the active view, I'll see the corresponding A-scan. If a topped group is present, we'll also see the UT and phased array B scan directly with the phased array. And these are all linked together, so as I move the scan cursor, I also see the associated S-scans at the same position. Moving back to single and normal brings back our menu options that we see here. Layouts, again, are changed directly from the title bar and groups. So on the instrument, we're looking live at an MX2 running a 4.1 R2, which is our current version. We put the instrument right away in full screen mode directly from the title bar. And as I select the gain, either a touch on the touch screen or a tap on the mouse, the gain is changed directly on the gain control without navigating to the UT menu or using the gain function key on the instrument. A right click of the mouse or a touch and hold allows me to either enable or disable the reference or set the current signal in gate A to 80%. Any other groups that are available would be visible here. Looking at the A-scan view, or any view with an A-scan, including all of the phased array options, selecting the first half of the UT ruler enables my UT start to be modified. If I touch an active group, okay, right now this field is active and waiting input. If I touch it one more time, I will have the keypad enabled to put data in directly. So it's important to not give that a double tap, or the keypad will be visible and then be disabled quickly. So keep in mind, the point I'm trying to make is that every field is either inactive, like we see now, or active, like we see now. And on an active field, if you want the text pad or keypad, it only requires one tap. Going back to the AS layout, we'll also see from the A-scan example of the interactive menu directly in full screen mode, like we see here. Ability to go back to normal mode. Of the techniques that we looked at under our setup wizard that we see here, these are based on the option you selected for either phased array or conventional UT or conventional UT through the PA connector. The option that I select here, and I would see TOFT for a UT selection, would enable many defaults throughout the software, such as C-scan, readings, gate mode, and reports to be associated with that particular application technique. One of the benefits of that is also, based on the technique, we'll see a whole list of new reports that are relevant to the technique that will include parts that are associated with that application and exclude parts that are not associated with that application. And reporting was probably a weakness in previous versions. These have been cleaned up significantly. They print normally. They're 1 or 2 pages. The page breaks make more sense. And we're getting very good feedback on the ones that people that have been using those as well. So another feature, and probably the most important one I would hope you would take away from this webinar, is something simple that we did to help customers improve their measurements and calibrations. Generally, when calibrating wedge delay, people perform the wizard function automatically regardless of the condition of the current signal. So what happens is, when I'm in a wedge delay calibration like I am now, the software is remembering the time of flight on either a radius or a side drilled hole. Based on the number of points and optimization of the range, the accuracy of that reading can be manipulated by the operator. But if the probe is in tolerance, like it is now, I haven't performed a previous wedge delay, I just have the ability to accept it prior to actually calibrating it. So what I'm doing, I'm accepting the calculator's values for wedge delay because I've verified manually that my setup is in tolerance. Generally, that's much preferable than making an empirical measurement and downgrading your wedge delay. Now, if the wedge is really worn, then of course it's going to reflect that in the calibrator. But one of the things we see customers doing is downgrading their wedge delay sometimes unnecessarily. So again, the short version of that is for a fairly new wedge with no wear, if it is in tolerance when you initially perform the calibrator, you're probably better off accepting the calibration rather than hitting the calibrate button to modify the calculator's version of that. So we also have new in the software under Preferences, Instrument, and Screen, a calibration function that allows us to calibrate the touch screen. That will walk us through a quick procedure of only 1 or 2 minutes maximum that will both make the accuracy of the touch screen and the touch screen's calibration to your finger and finger position much more accurate. In most cases, that's never necessary. Our touch screen follows the Windows, Microsoft Windows methodology and functions, and it shouldn't be necessary, but any troubleshooting or touch screen related issues or problems can typically quickly be resolved without anybody else's involvement by a quick calibration using this function. For the Toft, the Toft calibration, and we're back in OmniPC now, the Toft calibration and some of the new Toft functionality includes the lateral wave synchronization and some more full screen functionality. So I'm going to position my reference and measure cursor over the Toft area and identify the lateral wave that I see here and enter the wizard normally. Calibration, lateral wave, synchronization. Okay, I verify that my cursors are in the good position. I want to tell the software for each A-scan where the lateral wave starts and the area that completely contains it. Prior to lateral wave synchronization, good practice is to ensure no flaws are directly in the lateral wave and synchronize. So that will straighten my lateral wave significantly and allow me to perform a wedge delay and PCS calibration. After that's done, like it is now, from any A-scan, and in this case I'm going to take an A-scan right next to this flaw, I select the lateral wave, select the back wall, press and hold on the touch screen, and I can update the calibration directly from here. And it updated. See, I could move to another data point, zoom quickly, manipulate the cursors, right-click, and update calibration, or resynchronize or unsynchronize lateral wave. On any flaw, set reference cursor, set measure cursor, drag data cursor, and zoom. All those functions previously required touch screen mode manipulation and several extra button clicks or touchscreen manipulation than was necessary. Now it's made much faster and easier. So I wanted to thank everybody. That was a summary of the software that's available on the website now. In the email blast that we get everybody, we'll also include some SX information. Those of you who might not have seen the OmniScan SX yet, you can expect some more information in the email blast with this. There were a couple questions from this webinar and a previous that are related specifically to customer support issues. We'll answer independently for those customers. But with that, again, I'd like to thank everybody for attending. You should upgrade your software as soon as possible if you haven't already. The benefits are enormous. And we'll see you next webinar. I'll turn it back over to our moderator, Greg. Thanks, guys.